Almost there now. Are you alright? Do you need to stop? We can take a break, you know. I've got some poultice in my bags if your ribs are... As you wish. But tell me if anything hurts, alright? Oh, what's the dragon like? Ah, well... He's, abrasive at the start. He can come off as aloof, uncaring even. But the longer you talk to him, the sooner you realize that he's actually a very pleasant host. I mean, I cannot blame him for being cautious. He's the fourth child out of 7 siblings, so inevitably he's always been at best the target of everyone's pranks and, at worst, of their indifference. He doesn't trust people so easily, especially mortals. But in time, he's learned never to judge a book by its cover, and that not everyone is like his siblings. He loves them, you know? They just can be quite a handful sometimes. His mother raised them to be fiercely independent and to bring glory to the royal blood of dragons. Oh, you didn't know? Well, every dragon born on this earth is considered royalty. Royalty without a kingdom, but still. That's why the Crimson Emperor can't attack him directly. He would attract the ire of the dragon's entire family onto his empire, and, well, the ire of a dragon is something to witness, but rarely survivable. Okay, well, adventurers such as yourself are an entirely separate matter. Dragons admire people who, without an army at their disposal, manage to kill one of their own. They may even adopt you into one of their clans if you kill enough dragons to impress them. Just, don't expect to sleep soundly ever again. Assassination attempts are quite common in the dragon clans, especially by families trying to avenge their fallen offspring. How do I know all this? Well, from him, of course. We have a very close rapport. I can hear you thinking from here, you know. Don't worry, I'm not dragging you all the way to the dragon's lair just to have you become his midnight snack. Not after all the trouble I went through to nurse you back to health, that is. I know I can trust you by now. And so I just know the dragon will too. Besides, if my calculations are correct, your ex-companions are going to reach the throne room today. And we don't want to miss that now, do we? You're still thinking, mulling over something. Tell you what, why don't I tell you another story? It might distract you, or at the very least, teach you something new. Good. Once upon a time, at the foot of Dragon Mountain, there was a village. The people there were kind, simple, and hard-working, mostly miners and farmers. They lived in peace, for the dragon who ruled over them never once had tried to be anything but a wise counselor to them. He had taught them how to mine the incredibly rare ore buried deep within the mountain, and never once had he demanded one of their sheep nor one of their younglings as a sacrifice to his majesty. They coexisted like distant relatives, and that was good enough. But good times seldom last. And so it came to pass that the Crimson Emperor from the bordering lands began to covet the ore that only the villagers knew how to extract. He couldn't challenge the dragon's authority openly, for his empire couldn't possibly survive his wrath. And so he started to plot and scheme and plan. He sent emissaries to the village and managed to establish trade agreements between the capital and the village. The emperor would sell them fabrics, spices, magic books, and all kinds of wonders. In return, the villagers would supply the empire with ore for their weapons and war machines. The villagers, blinded by the luxuries, for the first time didn't heed the dragon's warning and accepted the emperor's deal. Soon, one by one, the villagers started to fall prey to a strange affliction. The most feeble ray of sunshine would scorch their skin like merciless lava. And soon enough, not one of them would be able to survive under the light of day. They took refuge into the mines and begged the dragon for help. The dragon soon realized that every single piece of merchandise coming from the capital was tainted with powerful, mysterious black magic. And the emperor's plot became most clear to him: to force the villagers to live in the dark and to align the emperor's merchants to bring them food in exchange for ore at ridiculously reduced prices. The dragon felt his heart fill with rage, and soon he knew what he had to do. Don't worry, we're almost there. Almost at the end of our journey. Where was I? Ah, yes. Using ancient magic, the dragon wrapped the village in eternal darkness so the villagers could, at least, go back to their homes. He taught them how to farm mushrooms that grew in the dark. Yes, just like the ones we've been eating in the past few days. But the emperor was furious, so he twisted the story to make it seem that it was the dragon who had cursed the village, not him. He put a bounty on the dragon's head, and hoped against all hope that by killing him, his magic would die as well, and he could finally get his hands on the mines. Under the dragon's orders, the villagers allowed the mercenaries sent by the emperor to try their luck, for the dragon could easily deal with them, and in the process, buy himself some time to study the curse and find a way to lift it. Of course, he couldn't handle reagents and potions with his massive claws. Why, that would have been extremely troublesome, don't you think? So he turned himself into a human and retreated deep within the mountain to conduct experiments on the village's skin samples and the correlation between the ore extracted from the mines and the curse. But there we are finally. The end. So, what do you think? The piles of gold and gems might be a little bit excessive, but then again, one must maintain appearances. And the throne? Carved from the bone of an ancient leviathan. Dwarven craftsmanship, no less. A bit spiky, a little bit intimidating, but theatrical enough. Serves its purpose, I must say. Yes, it's human-sized. Well, let's not dance around it anymore then, shall we? I've told you my story, and now the choice is entirely yours, my dear bard. You can certainly try and do what you came here to do, even alone, to buy your freedom from the hands of criminals, or you can allow the dragon to show you what happens to those who threaten his friends. Of course I consider you a friend. A friend and maybe something more? I love how your fingers fit with mine, knowing that they're able to produce such wonderful melodies just by plucking the chords of a lute. It almost feels like you hold the entire world on your fingertips. And every time I touch them, I can feel a bit of it too. Or maybe I've finally come to realize that when I hold your hand, I feel like I'm holding all that matters in the world. Don't mock me. I told you, I can be a very pleasant host given the chance. Why don't you allow me to show you? Good. Good girl. Gentlemen, perfect timing. I was beginning to wonder when you would show up. The dragon? He should be here. Now, shouldn't he? How odd. What say, my dear? Do you see any dragons around? Ah, yes, gentlemen. She's alive, despite your best efforts.
What did you just call her?
I apologize, my darling. I lost my composure there for a moment. Well then, gentlemen, since you don't seem to be able to behave yourselves, let's skip right to the ending now, shall we? Darling, if you could please sing us a little ditty. I wouldn't mind some bardic inspiration from you. Thank you. As for you, gentlemen, well, you know what they say. You play with fire.